expected. I mean, they are, in my eyes, they are indisputably the best team in all the regions at the moment, especially after their victory at the Copenhagen Major, which feels like eternity ago, even though it was all the way back in May. W7M have given me no reason to think that they aren't one of the best teams, and even the W7M skin on the shotgun is being brought by Luminosity. I don't know if there's a bit of an identity crisis at the moment for this squad.
I mean, they just really want to win. They're gonna challenge in every way they possibly can. And starting on defense in Oregon, it's not the worst to start things off in a match that matters a lot for you, right? And you saw one of the strongest defender bomb sites in the game, arguably, that Oregon defense all the way downstairs on basement. And Beastcoast, what have they brought to deal with it? Well, so far, their key operators with the floors of self-destruction, of course, Spiff on the Grim, so that when you get into that execute phase, much like the Ying to kind of like blind out the defenders, the Grim will spot them out and tell you exactly where they are, or if there's no one there at all, then it's clear, of course. And Lion was one skank that used to stare. Once you pop it, then you can no longer move, or you'll be spotted too. So if Beastcoast can hit the bombs of all 5 members alive, they have decent gadgetry to actually hit the side.
First pick's gonna come to Eddie as down goes Hat. The sledge getting maybe a bit too sloppy upstairs. There's Fett, the new addition to this Beastcoast roster after a family emergency. Prompted reverse to step off of the team. Tristan subbed in and looked mighty fine, but then for circumstances that we're not entirely certain of, Tristan was no longer able to play. All right, well, what more can you do there, I guess? Big pick onto the sledge, but honestly, I don't hate of all the operators that Beastcoast has having a sledge go down first.
No, it's not the end. You still got the hoppers, still got those execute-oriented gadgets as well. What I really want to see, though, is Fett, you know, the coach of Beastcoast, just get in there and get some kills, because we've seen coaches make some history in the past, make some good waves happening, and just getting some good moments for themselves. If you're not used to playing Pro League, just getting your first kill on the board and getting a little bit comfortable in the server is gonna get you a long distance. So if they can just get a kill here and start things off on a positive note, I'll see that as a small W for him.
A minute to go now is an operator who gets immense value on this bomb site, the Flores, guiding the Rotero drones in. There goes one of the deployable shields, playing by Laundry. Does not allow the same protection for Luminosity as Eddie pinged that and had to fall back. All the while, the rest of Beastcoast deciding, hey, let's take matters into our own hands. If it's not the drone, it's the Flores and Mr. B now amidst the gas, smoked by Eddie. 2 kills so far for the Fenrir playing right now. And we'll pick up a third, pulling out the Bailiff and finishing off Fett. Down goes Doc as well. Spiff the lone kill, make that 2, but dropped on by Silent. And Luminosity picks up round number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Silent was never cleared inside of that big tower, so you just went for a late room flank and go through attic, rotate down the tower stairs, etc., and create some havoc on the flank. And it was a very disjointed Beastcoast, and I already hear like frustrations in the face of Mr. B, but this is, you know, entirely to be expected. They're playing under very unfortunate circumstances. They are playing Argon, yeah, simple map, but it's going to be hard to just, out of nowhere, change rosters twice in a week and a half and just try and make that work. So round by round we go. But of course, LG very favored in this scenario. They also, as mentioned, start on a very strong defender bomb side where you don't have to put in a lot of work. So expect that outcome there. I do want to see Beastcoast though, just keep hitting those fundamentals, right? The full roam clear, the drone intel, the flank drones, the things that having a roster change shouldn't necessarily affect all that much. It ended up being a solo push by Mr. B, mostly due to that toxic bait being tossed out by Twist earlier in the round, forcing you to advance in towards the bomb side and just kind of lose out that initial gunfight.
I mean, nice play by Spiff to try and keep things close, but ultimately they're impactless kills, right?
Yeah.
When you get 2 exit kills from inside a freezer, when there's 5 people, a literal smorgasbord at your disposal, just pick what you want. Somebody's gonna walk in front of you, I'm almost certain. There's not a lot of places to hide in that basement. And if you know that there's only one person left, who cares if you lose 1 or 2 people with, 20, 30 seconds left on the clock? Yeah, it's possible that you could destroy whatever advantage you have, but with 5 people, that seems exceedingly unlikely. That's certainly an interesting position for Twist to play in, by the way.
Got that rotate the master bedroom closet and just extending the defense a little bit off the bomb site itself. We actually see Wolves in the EUL quite commonly try to extend out where they can, so LG, of course, with their own twist on this style of defense. And I like it. Again, if you're going up against an opponent who's not going to be super comfortable in the server, making it difficult for them to achieve those basic steps, like the initial master bedroom breach, I think is a great stylistic choice for LG. And Twist, doing great so far. Just proning, waiting around, and burning so much utility. I mean, Selma's going off, Warrior's drone, etc. He runs away. He could reinforce off the wall, most likely, with a toxic bait being tossed out, just kind of stall for more time. He chooses to.
So look like the Frost was fishing for info. So Silent playing the top of T3 and now giving himself an opportunity to get back to the site through Attic. That secondary shotgun for Frost is just incredibly valuable. It's also, I have to imagine, Super Shorty as an addition to Legion, alongside all of those other changes, help bolster his pick rate at this point.
Oh yeah. Self-destruction is so important to just kind of shape the bomb set the way you want. Silent on top of tower last round, as well as the current one, finding great success, just kind of looking for angles, can always come down for a flank later on. Fed to get the wall open up for a line of sight, but currently Beastcoast are very much locked out of this. Mr. B again, very much alone downstairs, and again gets caught off guard.
I mean, you got to Solus on the board at some point. You got to be quite aggressive in the way that you drone that together, even if Solus does, in fact, counter you. 2 kills for LG. Spiff walking in as the diffuser looks to be planted. Vet might get away with this one scot-free. Spiff taking some damage, circling around the other bomb site, turns his back towards it. Vet picking up 2 big kills on the stairs, but that was just LG walking right into him. Twist tops on the diffuser, and what ultimately was a closer round than it should have been. Luminosity still comes out ahead.
But it's so close in those rounds. And I mean, if Mr. B doesn't get caught inside a dining, 5 seconds before they push that go, go, go button, maybe the outcome of the round could be different, because then Mr. B, he might be the one flanking those defenders trying to get back up that wide staircase. So a very small thing with a major impact negatively for Beastcoast in that round. And things will get easier for them. Yeah, the first attack is going to be against the strongest bomb site. The second attack is going to be against the statistically second strongest bomb site, most likely. So by this third attack and round, that's kind of where you're supposed to start getting those attacking victories. Let's say Beastcoast goes 2-4 in side swap. Not the end of the world. Fed got some kills in that round. He was set up for that 1 versus 4 clutch. He got it to a 1 versus 2. Bomb was down. But the post plant, not the easiest to defend when you don't have control of a master bedroom necessarily, because you just don't have info on the flank on lobby staircase. Tough road ahead for Beastcoast.
A really tough prospect coming in with your coach, especially when you lose a newer player, and then you had some promise with another player, and now a third will fill in on that exact same role. The big thing with a coach coming in is just your in-game ability versus your knowledge. I think that most coaches will have a pretty good understanding of what needs to be done through most rounds. I mean, if you're playing on stage, the coach is always behind you, always listening in. I would imagine most... I don't really... I mean, this is the type of thing where Snake just does not need to do that. I mean, you think that you're going to beat Beastcoast. You think that they're not a very strong team right now. But why? You know, that's certainly a confusing one, but...
Yeah, doing it 30 seconds into the round, it's like, the attackers are gonna be in that balcony by now, so odds are he was like, I want to do this time, and didn't, you know, either realize or didn't consider the fact that he was late in his side setup, because had he been there 10 seconds earlier, he would have likely gotten a kill instead, but it was simply just too late in the round to do that.
See the double panel walls opening up onto this meeting bomb site now. As to whether there can be any follow-up, that's the question. A great operator for them to get that first pick on the Legion, by the way, because you're probably only going to have 3 goo mines down at that point.
Yeah.
The pathway to the bomb site becomes significantly harder for the attackers as that clock runs and Legion continues to gain immense value.
We don't see this kind of
a sigh of relief for Beastcoast.
I was gonna say, we don't see this kind of attack very often where you actually attack the meeting bomb site from the lobby. We almost always see teams go from big tower into meeting bomb site instead, and so far Beastcoast is finding success and having life in this round. Got lobby presence, got classroom presence, and it even got the roam somewhat figured out until Silent got the kill into Spiff.
He's got the devil split right now where you have to look left, you have to look right. Silent, no deaths just yet. Sees the shoulder of the Lion, will engage in a relatively hard fight against Doc, not expecting Mr. B to be there in lockstep as well. Beastcoast doubling up on Luminosity at this point. This is the tertiary bomb site you expect to lose. Diffuser going down yet again by Fett. Eddie walks in. Nicely played by Eddie to equalize the numbers, and now he's got aerial support from Azen. Looking through those kill holes. Eddie encroaching on the position of this diffuser, but no silhouettes particularly nearby. Doc could take him from the back. Eddie hops on. There's Doc to finish it off. Incumbent now upon Azen to get into action, but it's taken him a bit too long to be a factor. Allows Beastcoast to set themselves up in the post plant a second time, and Hat has the play to end the round and give Beastcoast their first victory.
And a really good read in that round as well, because Beastcoast recognized the last 2 defenders were not going to be in the meeting bomb site itself. So Fett just said, hey guys, I can probably just plant here. And he does that. Sure, the cover wasn't great. They lost both the cover and the planter shortly after. But the bomb did ultimately get planted. That allowed that 2v2 post plant to, of course, favor the attack inside. They had good positions. And more importantly, the defenders have to retake in towards them. So they got the sound cues in the attack inside's favor. They got those drones posted up and ready to grant that information. And if anything, LG just needs to respect their opponent right now. I don't know what there was about in that round. They're playing very far off one another. There's no trades happening and kind of ego challenging. And like we mentioned, Snake dying the way he did 30 seconds into the round from the balcony prone position, just very, very puzzling. Silent here going for a sprint. And look where he's going here. He sprints facing the window. He doesn't cut the corner, doesn't go back up into side. Like, he just kind of runs from a gunfight not knowing where the enemy exactly is going to be at. And there's just no trades happening. So LG, you gotta tighten up here. It's Oregon. It's a small map. Use that to your advantage on defense.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
You trying to give us the spinnies there, medics?
Spinnies.
Like his controller got stuck.
Throwing frag grenade.
I want to see a Blitz. I don't mind he's banned. It's a shame, but like, give me chaos, right? Give me the Blitz gameplay. The good old blue rush, it might not be the most effective way to attack these days because we always see Warden and Smoke in those kinds of positions. But oh boy, is it always fun.
It's a very typical blue take. The gas canister will go out by elbow. Twist the one to throw it. Hat died the very first round, the very first death. He seems to be the main focus for Twist at this point as Twist decides to get quite aggressive. Just because you're playing with a coach does not mean that you are incapable of winning a best of one. We have seen occurrences that some might consider freak occurrences, one of which was on this map, with a coach in infamous fashion. And the rest of Beastcoast, while they haven't exactly had the season that most people expected, Stage 1 went surprisingly well for this team. But I imagine some of the distractions behind the scenes is caught up to them for Stage 2. There's still a lot of depth on this team. You've seen Doc take over games, you've seen Hat take over games so far this stage. They are still capable of signs of brilliance, even if they are the lowest ranked team in North America at the moment. So for Luminosity, you get a little bit too cute, maybe you take too many chances. It ends up being a much more competitive match that should be, especially given the fact that Luminosity are fighting to make that top 6.
Yeah. I like the discipline right now for both teams, though. Hat the only aggressor for Beastcoast currently. Whereas the team working out roam clear, you see the Beast go out with the red pings, snakes follow, but nothing really comes out of it. But it's a swing in the end for Fed, finding that opening kill onto LG.
And suddenly Beastcoast have this renewed sense of understanding. That's the next one up, trying to soften up Eddie. Luminosity's anchors are the only thing that stands between them and a loss at the moment of this round. And well, Swinger be swung by Eddie, trying to keep numbers close. Fed had died earlier on. Spiff holding the diffuser. Now it's Hat's turn to go down, but Spiff dies. Snake! Incredible plays with all 4 kills at this moment.
Attackers will cover the bomb.
Tee it up and look for the 5th. He sees the tracers and knows where Mr. B is. Will Silent be kind enough to give it to Snake? That's the question. Mr. B inside the site, still toiling away. Snake swings the wrong way. Mr. B going for the clutch with now the diffuser down, and he wins it! Wow, what a round by Beastcoast.
We see the energy of Mr. B. There it is. The passion coming out of it as well. Celebrations. A good clutch round, but what was initially a really advantageous round for the attack of Beastcoast came all the way down to a 1 versus 2. And then again, LG, they don't have the discipline. Early in the round, they're swinging alone, they die. Snake somehow out of nowhere gets a 4-cray so quickly, brings it back down to like a 2 versus 2, but then they don't have the crossfire. Snake gets 1, and there's no trade from Silent. So this lack of discipline from LG being punished beautifully by Beastcoast, and what shouldn't have been that close of a round, but it was.
At what point do you get too far into this game where you didn't take it as seriously as you need to? And I say this because, I mean, there is a long list of teams that have played up against opponents that, and I put in heavy air quotes here, are worse than them. And they come in expecting it to be a cakewalk. And I don't know if it's just hubris or lack of preparation, or maybe our understanding of a team isn't as strong as it needs to be. And I don't just mean you and my understanding or our understanding in that regard. I mean, everybody's understanding. There's a Blitz, by the way. I'll let you talk about that in a sec. But at what point do you realize that maybe we had a poor understanding and we need to take it more seriously? But hold on a second. Mr. B is off to the races. Twist scared off this position. And there he goes. This is a full blue clear. 25 seconds in, and Beastcoast understanding what needs to be done. The Blitz eventually stopped by Eddie. Aizen back on the board as well. Lion Fett taking some serious damage. Good patience, expecting his teammates to hold true. Freezer play from Doc puts Eddie on ice. Aizen is trapped in the corner with a single point of HP, and it's Spiff to get the job done. That round was over in 40 seconds. Beastcoast have now won 3 rounds in a row, and they've got the lead.
So there are 2 things I want to address here. First one is, I think the time that you start really trying hard again for LG was last round. Not the one we just saw with Blitz, the one before that, right? You just need to stop losing these basement defense and play the game seriously. And secondly, you told me that you were gonna let me talk about the Blitz in just a moment, but 1 moment later, they're rushing down the bomb side so quickly that even LG were not prepared for it. Immediate blue control, straight to the rotate, and yeah, there was a bit of a blunder there from Blitz, mailing out of distance, so he didn't get the injury onto Fenrir and he died. But it's a great setup, and I really want to praise Fed here in these rounds. He's playing the hard support role, he's also the guy planting down that diffuser, and his discipline and knowledge of when to actually do it when he's safe is so good. They went into that breach, with the rotating from blue into the bomb side. And then when the Blitz died, Fed stopped planting, waited for the Lion charge to recharge, then popped the line, then got back into that plant position. He allowed himself and his team time to stabilize before going back to the plant. Because we too often see teams just try and plant down that diffuser because it's stressful, and you just hold down F on your keyboard, and if it works out, it works out. But when you are planting, you're down a gun. So from that 3 versus 2 becomes a 2 versus 2. So Fed just waiting those extra like 5 to 10 seconds to stabilize, massive in that round. We see your beats again.
Reloading.
The other topic that I was bringing up was, when do you begin to take a game seriously? At this point, I think if Luminosity hasn't found out that they need to take this seriously, they're farther away from a conclusion and understanding than we ever thought. I mean, I will go back to Snake on that opening pick many rounds ago. Yeah, in and of itself, that's not that big of a deal, but I think it speaks to the mindset that Luminosity approached this game with. LG is still a rookie team. You've got 2 experienced players on the squad, but that's about it. The rest of you are just starting to get your game day reps in. And you're running afoul of a Beastcoast team that looks hungry and rejuvenated, who found success through the last 3 rounds and have punished Luminosity for it. That Blitz rush that we just saw could have easily cracked this round open, but Beastcoast ultimately come up empty-handed and we'll have to try again.
I believe the desk said something about LG's defensive win rate has been really poor in the last like 4 games, but that's no excuse to struggle these kinds of ways on Oregon. It's a simple map, very small, very compact, and it's very default. Every player knows it's in and out, and they're just not playing it correctly. LG do find some success here. They find the opening pick onto Hat, but they still have yet to deal with the blitz of Mr. B, and that's always going to be an issue because if he wants to go, he can. Still got 2 smokes in pocket, so those smokes can deny lines of sight, push on in. As long as a team follow-up is there to assist Mr. B, Beastcoast still have a way in this round.
Numbers equalizing, but suddenly LG just punishing every single player from Beastcoast. Azen is down, so it's closer than the score would suggest. Though the top of white that Spiff thought he had in control is not exactly his, not with that toxic canister rolling around. Azen is outside the building and needs to be retrieved, but Vet ensures that does not happen. No hard breach for Beastcoast at the onset. Tells you all you need to know about how they are going to attempt this dorm's bomb site. No, it's just a waiting game for LG. 30 seconds, 1 more player making noise at the top of white. That's Spiff attempting this angle yet again. There's 1 gas canister for Twist, but he doesn't look down. There's a cap kit on the board. You knew that Azen might be dead, but his gadgets remain. Fet vaults over, has to pick between a player or the Frost mat, chooses the Frost mat, ultimately picks wrong. 3 in a row from Beastcoast was a good stretch, but LG bailed themselves out of that final round of the first half. These teams emerge tied at 3.
But 3 in a row is all you really need on the attacking side. I mean, you get a 3-3 half attacking Oregon with your coach. I say you're pretty damn happy about that. You still got your tactical timeout, you still figure things out, and maybe even more importantly, depending on how involved Fed is with the team and like the strategical aspect of things, having your coach actually be a player can be a benefit in some areas when it comes to game understanding, knowledge of strats, and just coming with a different perspective and mindset than what a typical player would. Of course, individual performance-wise, we're always going to assume a coach to be a worse individual performer unless they're a former player themselves. But pure numbers, Fed has been putting up an incredible performance. He's 4 and 5 in the first half, planted the diffuser, 2-3 times himself, stayed alive for most of the rounds till the very end, close to, and always having good value. So I don't actually think it's hard to imagine that Fed would also find success in defense, because if you played ranked Oregon just a couple of times, it plays out in a very similar fashion, at least when it comes to the anchor positions on the bomb side. If you're roaming, it is hell in a cell. If you're on your own and it's not easy and it's not pretty. But if you're on the bomb site like Fed currently is, on that launcher staircase, you know these positions, you know where the attack is about to be coming from, and you got all these tools to help you. The Barber, the deployable shields, the gadget configurator, the goo mines. So you're always going to have pretty good intel as to where they're going to be coming from once they hit the site.
First half in terms of opening picks and how that directly relates to a round being won is pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
The team that's able to strike first would then go on to win the round. The only Question I have is I have round number 6 marked down as a trade because there wasn't really any long-term advantage gained from that first pick. If those numbers hold, that bodes very well for Luminosity, as Hat's been punished. The Warden will not be available for this bottom floor defense. That's a 1.5 off of the board. That's a good player and Hat off of the board. Brought a deployable shield, so I imagine that it got set up somewhere already. I'd imagine it doesn't die in pocket. Given the way that most Wardens play, especially with this lineup of Beastcoast, I imagine that's elbow control for Luminosity, and they'll take out Mr. B as well for good measure, putting Beastcoast in an even worse spot. They trade back though. Doc gets silent on white stairs, not before Spiff can die on sight. That means that the only on-site player is Fet. Doc roaming above, found out. LG looking far more formidable on this very first attack than honestly most of their defenses. And it's Fet who stands against this 4-player Storm. He sees the drop, but Twist ultimately credited with the kill as he falls. There's 2 of them. All right. Poor situation for Beastcoast to be in, and Luminosity regains the lead.
I do think that Beastcoast are trying to catch their opponent off guard by doing stuff that they might not tend to do that often, to kind of counter strat any prep work. But when you got Ying and Monty banned from the attack, I really do believe that bunkering up on the bomb site itself, at least on basement, is going to be your bread and butter way to approach that bomb site, because there's really no reason to roam the way they did. I like to, peek up the freezer staircase, launcher staircase, kill a couple of drones, fall back to side. But they fully committed. Hatches opened up, rotates top floor, etc. And they pretty much lost every single member who was off the bomb site. Well, they did in fact lose all the people off the bomb site first, leaving just the solo anchor of Fit alone. They do that without a Valkyrie because it's banned, without anybody playing Echo who can move those yokais around, and default cameras don't get you a whole lot on Oregon, and the opponent can just play Twitch or Brava against it. So it's like, you're roaming aggressively with no intel, and you're doing it on a bomb site that is heavily favorable to just bunker up, as we tend to know, for this particular bomb site. So I want to see a stylistic change here. Like the Asami, the Melusi, the Fenrir, this does speak to a more defensive setup from Beastcoast, and I think it's gonna do better for them, to be honest.
These teams have favored going back to bomb sites that they lost now on 2 separate occasions. The second attempt at this Laundry defense down below. Laundry showed up twice by LG in rounds 4 and 5, neither of which went in their favor. Both were quite lopsided for Beastcoast. So it was a discussion to be had as to whether or not you want to go back to a bomb site immediately. Most of the time, the wisdom is that if you think there were small mistakes that can easily be corrected, then why not try again and give yourself a fighting chance? Teams will often talk about how if they got blown out and think that the opponents have them and their number covered, then you got to go somewhere else, keep them on their toes.
So that really is it. And in this case, it's a matter of, we wanted to play very far apart last round. Look at them now. They are neck to neck, they're back to back, they're foot to foot, like they are standing next to each other on the bomb site, just waiting for LG to close in. For LG's side, they got 2 key operators. The Flawless Evasion to clear out utility, the Melusi guy to defend your guy to keep a barrier, so much utility. And then Eddie on the Capital to start things off. The Firebolt, the Smoke Bolt, that's gonna have to be targeted towards crucial positions, whether it's gonna be on the front side attack of Laundry or Freezer, or the backside meeting hatch/tower stairs. We don't know yet. That's the beauty of Oregon Basement. The middle round of this, or the middle stage of this round rather, is all about just figuring out where is the defense weak, where can we clear the util, and then hit that weak spot. Currently, with 3 members pinging towards that big tower, it seems to be a back take for LG.
Forego the elbow pressure, at least for now. Look at that. It allows 2 separate players from Beastcoast to play by blue, by elbow. Hazen might be the only player from Luminosity there. Yeah, and he misses his flash. All right. Not that it would really matter, because there's a Warden of Hat that will be able to just spin around and quite easily see you. Not him to get the kill. Mr. B and Spiff actually pick up both of them. Finally, Hat gets on the board. Beastcoast thwarting this advance from Luminosity, very nearly flawless. Only a single kill from LG. Beastcoast tied up again. This is not going to be the lopsided match that we had thought would be possible.
And just look at the difference there. From a full aggressive roam to a super passive turtle, it is night and day difference. Not only do I think that Beastcoast playing closer together favors them as a team, especially with a stand-in of Fed, but also it's simply harder to attack against because it's all eggs in one basket, 5 guns watching mostly the same direction. And I did like what LG tried to do in that round. They tried to kind of attack from multiple directions, but they didn't have anybody outside blue. Asian ended up rotating off the position, and it was a slaughter inside of it. The cross was not really established. Double meeting hatch drop. Eddie went down the staircase, and then we just saw Silent all alone, opposite side of the map. Can't really get much done. Sure, he gets a kill, but it's just an exit kill. That's it.
It's a bit of a puzzling matchup. Certainly not the way that I thought it was going to
5
go.
seconds left before insertion.
No, it's not at all.
Attacker's objective is to defuse
I don't even
the
know if
bomb.
you can just talk about Fett's performance, because while he was the X factor coming into this matchup, he's been holding his own. I mean, 4 and 7 on support roles is honestly where we see veteran players against some of these teams. So in that regard, doing all right, though he did pick up 2 kills, if I remember correctly, that were ultimately impactless in one round.
Yeah.
I don't have a photographic memory of every single kill, but I mean, even if he's not getting high priority picks, it's still the utility usage that is very critical here. Playing mute on the upstairs dorms bomb site now likely means locking out the entry points for drones to get in. One drone will scoop by big windows, so there's obviously going to be areas that aren't fully covered, but I'd imagine probably towards attic, maybe white stairs, maybe over towards trophy. Just cause a headache for Luminosity.
Tension by both teams here. They both want to contest the master bedroom closet. Of course, Mr. P has that keep a barrier, can patch it up, reinforce the wall if he wants to. Do have a spare reinforcement left available? It's just Eddie though on the master bedroom balcony. Might be a fake take here from them. We see the outlines though, 3 members and mixture of the roof and big windows. So I'm not really sure LG knows what they want to do in this round, as they're still kind of seeming to figure that out. Might be some nades below from Mayana, might be a swing around, or might just be Eddie falling first in that master bedroom balcony.
It's a shame to lose the Selmas and the Ace so early on. And Beastcoast get that pick that they need. Again, it really comes down to who gets that first pick. The last 2 rounds decided by the team that gets the first pick as well. So, if anything, that's enormous for Luminosity. Vault in from twists, evading whatever line of sight there might be, and Luminosity actually takes the advantage in terms of these picks. Twist comfortable enough in the coverage to get the diffuser down, and will do so successfully as Beastcoast just keeps falling by the wayside. But hold on a second. Look at the size of the cojones on Fett. He gets the pick and then immediately hops on the diffuser. Nobody from Luminosity sees it. Wow, unbelievable play.
I'm telling you, Fed's the real deal. He's really great at making decisions. Sure, he missed his U4, but he got in there. He caught the timing from the cover of Snake on white stairs and just snuck in, took down the kill. He didn't even reload. He went straight for the defuse, and they win off that play. Massive for Beastcoast.
That's really something, isn't it?
Oh, that's a tilter for LG. Is their tactical timeout? I mean, they're trying to do all these fancy things in the attack. The white stairs, big window, smoke, fire, push, right? Without a blitz or a ying, so it's kind of difficult. But it's like, I think if you're LG, just do the basic stuff. You don't need to get fancy with it. Look, they have 3 members alive. Nobody's there for post plant. Snake didn't have anything below. Asian halfway off the map. Yeah, Ana's halfway off the map. No one's nearby. If you all just come from that good old master bedroom trophy attack, maybe go attic or one guy big window, like the basic upstairs attack.
Here now, as all I need to do is show up and cast and leave now. It's much more simple, but
oh boy,
we don't have the power to start the game. Was where people wondering where did that come from?
There is a good old Caveira in our lobby. I like this. As I said, LG, they're trying to get fancy with things against a team who isn't playing default Siege right now. We saw them play Blitz, that's not too crazy. Now we're seeing them play Caveira. on a meet. You see Mr. B with a
Go.
big smile on his face. He knows he's getting cheeky with it. He's hiding on bomb side. His
5 seconds to
teammates, you
insertion.
see Fed and Spiff, are running around looking for drones because the goal here is to make
Attackers
sure
are moving
Caveira
to
goes
defuse the bomb.
unnoticed. He's gonna run somewhere and hide now that the round has started, and hopefully not get spotted out by a drone. And just try and get one of those lone entries and try and go for an interrogation. And if you do get an interrogation, it is like practically a 1 round. Because you force the defender or attackers to go all the way back to the spawn or die trying. He gets droned though, and the gig is up. He's actually been misdroned as far as we know. I don't think Asian checked inside the small room itself. The drone started on the staircase. So the question is, now for Mr. B, you're playing a fine line. When do you flank? He doesn't know how many attackers are here. We know there are 3. He might only hear 1 or 2. And again, he doesn't want just to kill. He wants to try and get an interrogation or double.
Actually love the unconventional plays and Mr. B with an opportunity.
Where's the
Interrogation! No! We get you baited, but still, what a huge play by Mr. B. Knocks 3 players down, or 2 at the minimum. Hat, proverbial broom who sweeps up the rest of the garbage. A 3v2 for Beastcoast still as Hat dies, but Luminosity knocked off their stride. A victory here for Beastcoast pushes them to match point. Again, the stakes for this matchup, very high for Luminosity. Beastcoast aren't really playing for the same level or playing at the same level, and they don't have the same goals that LG has. LG is in a 3-way dogfight to make the top 6. They played 2 matches today. LG has a great opportunity to make it. Obviously, it will be incumbent upon how that SSG Mirage game goes. But LG are just watching what opportunity they have of making top 6 evaporate. They'll be in really, really troubling spot. East Coast prevails in this round.
And it's to a Caveira. And yeah, the interrogation didn't go off. He has a double impure, and more importantly, the assistance from Hat was there. He guaranteed the 3-for-2 trade, which heavily favors defense. And LG, of course, also losing the mental game on this, not droning properly, almost getting interrogated, being put in this position, and now they gotta pick up the scraps. 3v2, it's clutch time for LG. They got 30 seconds to go, and they're both right by the bomb site walls, but isolated across these 2 bomb sites.
They can't get an early pick, they're in trouble, and there it is. Twitch was the only one to try to get the diffuser down. Eddie had to cover. What's Eddie gonna cover now when there's 3 players from Beast Coast still upright? No diffuser to be found, and it's the roam from Beast Coast that comes home and delivers them a 6th round. Beast Coast guaranteed at least 1 point of all the matches for Beast Coast to show up. This is a statement.
Oh, it absolutely is. I love the energy between Mr. B and Fed's face cams because they're such, animated players, and they're super excited. And then the rest of the team, NLG, it's kind of like, it's very neutral. Maybe a smirk here and there or whatever, but so much energy. I love that he went for the double interrogation. I think you can be really nitpicky and say, oh, he should have killed the one guy first to at least get 1 kill in case there's another guy covering. But no. You want the interrogation, and if it goes off, you use the second body for a second interrogation afterwards. Because once the first one goes off, the attackers have no option but to run away. They got that red outline covering them for like 10 seconds. So he could stall out for a double interrogation by just trying to risk it all. And didn't work out, and you're gonna go, oh no, but now he gets no kills. No.
10 seconds left.
Mr. B communicated to Hat that things were going sideways, or he might need a backup here. And yeah, Hat was there to secure the kills after Mr. B died. They get the full value either way. Get 3 kills. Beautiful stuff.
After Luminosity takes their timeout as well. Imagine you take a timeout, you structure your setup and attack, and you think you've got everything sorted out, and then you don't drone small tower, and a Caveira almost gets a double interrogation on you. Can only imagine the hurry that Azen had in his step to try to get close to prevent that from happening.
And to make matters worse, now LG have to attack against the most difficult bomb site on Oregon. Well, they struggled previously due to the big turtle setup from Beastcoast. But they've been changing it up, right? Beastcoast, they roam a lot, they play passive, they're running out the building, staying indoors. They're trying to keep LG really on their toes and guessing as to what exactly is the pace going to be like in these rounds. And I think there's a very big reward from this. Look at the time. A minute has flown by, and LG are barely in the building. Silent, droning himself in. Snake, droning himself in. Asian, droning himself in. They're gonna take at least half the round to probably know the map is really clear from roamers. And then you got almost interrogated last round. You're probably gonna have a tiny bit of doubt in your mind. There might still be someone roaming somewhere just because you made that mistake previously. So strategically speaking, Beastcoast in a phenomenal spot in this round. All they got, quote unquote, all they gotta do is not throw away their bodies for nothing. Play those trades, play close together, and force LG into those very uncomfortable kinds of gunfights near the bomb site.
No damage has been done yet in one of the slower rounds that we've had between these two teams. I understand Luminosity's preoccupation with playing it smart and playing it slow, but this can be a tough bomb site when you get into brawls to come out ahead on. Let's see if they can get an early pick. And by early, I mean in the final moment. Spiff has been downed playing by back tower stairs. Unsure of who was the one to do it. Not retrievable at the moment. Eddie trying to secure the kill, but ultimately taking damage by Pillar, and will now dump all of Capitão's utility in. A double drop through E-Box. Mr. B is there, Doc on the board as well. Spiff still bleeding out, but suddenly Beastcoast is winning every engagement. All hope rests on Eddie, but it's the Deagle kill